tuned in to Gila Nehemiah's Sacred Erotic Poetry, Sacred Sexuality and Ascension podcast. Thank you for joining. Today is the day of the new moon solar eclipse. It is December 4th, and I'm so excited to be here. Before we begin and before I go into the intentions and the beauty of this episode, I'd like to take 3 deep breaths with you and to center and to really connect and align into the energies of the divine. So, if you'd like to do that with me, please take 3 deep breaths at your own pace and really breathe into your diaphragm and totally let out to your upper chakras. And, when you're doing that, remember to hold when you take the deep breath and then release for at least 3 seconds. I like to call in our spirit guides, God, Source, Universe, Mother Mary, Mother Earth, Holy Father, Jesus, Father Sky, our brothers and sisters from Sirius and Atlantis and the Galactic Council. I'd like to also call in the Lyrans and the Andromedans and any other angels and galactic beings and sources and energies to assist us in this session as we step into the new earth, our authentic self, and this amazing, amazing new beginning with the solar eclipse and new moon in Sagittarius. Aho, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for setting your intentions with me, and for just allowing this energy to move through you and us as a collective. So I wanted to just come on today. I felt really called. I hadn't come on since I think the last full moon. I noticed a lot of things were happening in my personal life, and I didn't, I know I normally do this every week, but something told me I needed to hang back. So I followed my intuitive guidance on this one. And I wanted to thank everybody who has been listening. Any new listeners who have been joining, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your heart and your ears and your throat with us because the ear, nose, and throat are actually connected. So, the message today is quite profound. Either it's going to come through my speech or you're just going to feel it in your heart. We are stepping into new beginnings, and we've had to make serious choices in endings and release in our personal lives, in our careers, in our authentic beings, in our psychic powers, in our trust in God. And really, the message is about one, what this new moon and solar eclipse means, and on a deeper level, divine union with God. Some of you might know me personally, some of you might not. I've been on a divine partnership path for a while. And at this point in the juncture of my life, it has been actually for quite some time, but it's now been clearly shown to me that in order to really connect into what that means, to be in divine union, it really, first and foremost, needs to come, with the relationship to God. And however you determine that, that could be Jesus Christ, it could be Christ consciousness, it could be love, it could be, anything that you are connected to. And for me, I believe in Christ consciousness, and I believe in love as consciousness. And I also believe in groundedness. So, what does that mean? Yeah, I've lived so much of my last 4 years in my heart, and not always grounded on the earth. And what does that mean? So what that means, at least for me, I've been, as I may have mentioned in previous podcasts, I've been stepping into divine balance for quite some time. This whole year was balance was my word. And as we're going into 2022, it's more and more balance. Balance of our material life, balance of our careers, balance of our abundance, balance of our love, balance of our relationships. And I think for many of us who have been through serious chronic trauma, and on kind of unprecedented, or that's the word that came to me, but a lot of limiting beliefs. We're stepping into new paradigms, and that means really opening our hearts, not just to a romantic partner, but to all beings in love, especially in our relationships. And that is my genre. Relationships is my forte, and it has been my path of really finding my own heart. And I want to stress, and I know I may have said this in a previous podcast, but this is coming more to the forefront to me in my life, is that our first relationship and our truest relationship is with ourselves and God. If any of you are looking into holy marriage or desiring that, that, and even the definition of divine union to me, as I said earlier, first and foremost begins with God. We begins with our higher self, begins with this unprecedented force that is guiding us, and that we finally feel safe and loved in, and it's not in another person. We may have had the illusion that a person in our life could has opened us up to that, and there's some truth to it, yet hanging on to a story that isn't yet materializing is inviting us to let go completely. And whether that means a physical person or a story or a mental story, that is for you to determine. And I have determined that in my own life in many ways, and I'm here to say that the way, at least that I am being shown, that it's going to manifest is not with a physical being. When we are attached to a physical person, there's always going to be lessons shown to us that in order to truly be free and liberated and sovereign, we must release all attachments. And what that means for the future, we are not yet shown. And that's okay. Whatever will be, will be. Whatever is we are desiring will come to fruition. Though the path of truth is non-attachment and staying to the vision. It's like, if you think, I'm just thinking of Steve Jobs, maybe he started with Apple. He didn't realize he was going to go to the iPhone. And all of that success that he was going to have, he had to start with something, and he started with that, and then it evolved. So I'm just giving you a material thing to think about that's real, because that's ourselves. We are evolving. And anything that's coming up in our lives that is not happening is just showing us deeper and deeper where we are holding on to our limited beliefs. And it's not people. Still see in like Instagram and things, like people are blaming others for the lack of their relationship moving forward, or whatever that is. And I firmly believe that that isn't really the issue. The issue is, where are we holding on to an old story that isn't serving us anymore, and we're trying to fit a round peg in a square hole. How are we still living? We're trying to live a 5D relationship in 3D paradigm, and it doesn't work. So if you want a 5D relationship, if you want to live in the fifth dimension, if you want to really enhance and embody, whatever it means to you to be in the new earth, you're asked, you might be asked, like me, to do it on your own. Do it in your own, embody it. with all of your gifts, with all of your purpose, with your mission. Feel it. And the next step will be shown to you. And if that doesn't resonate, that's completely fine. There are infinite ways to the path, and whichever way you choose, that's amazing. Like the road less traveled by Robert Frost, and that was what I kept hearing in my mind. It's like we are asked as a collective to go on the road less traveled if we are asking for something that is not yet um, ever been, experienced in our lives. Because until we go on that road less traveled, we're never going to know. And for me, a seeker of the truth and love and honesty, I must walk that path, whether it's walking it with God or walking it with a crowd, of like-minded people, or walking it completely alone. I must do that because that for me is true liberation and true connection to my true self. Um, and, I'm just inviting you to send me feedback of what you think, because I really feel like we are being stretched. This corridor that we have been experiencing from the lunar eclipse to the solar eclipse was huge. It was huge upheaval and, emotional breakdowns and movement and identity. Discoveries of what was and what is and what will be. In some cases, we don't, most cases, we don't know what will be, but we know what is. And the other big thing is the truth. What is the truth? And I'm not asking you what is the truth of the world. I'm asking you to honestly look at yourself, which is very, very challenging. To honestly see what is not working in our lives is not an easy task, because we all like to hide and we like comfort. You know, um, I just made cacao before I came here, the ceremonial cacao. I used a lot of cacao, and I was just like, okay, I want to prepare myself for this podcast, because this is a heart opening. And I want to also send a shout out to Mercedes. My We were doing a full moon sessions together, and I had a wonderful conversation with her recently, and I wanted to just send her lots of love today, because she introduced me to the wonders of cacao and ceremonial cacao, and I really wanted to just say thank you for that, and thank you for the amazing, amazing connection that we have. And it's connections like these, it's connections that are deep within our hearts and souls, that really help us and guide us onto our new paths, and to cement that knowing, that the soul tribe connection that is so important at this time. And going back into honesty and divine union is like when we truly can see ourselves, with everything that we are. And I'm not talking about like, oh, we made a mistake, or we have a flaw, or and anything like that. Is like, what is causing us pain? Where are we still in a pattern of denial, or of not allowing ourselves to face a truth that is not serving us? Because the more we confront and face those truths, and we may not be able at this point, we may see a sliver of it and understand it and step into it, but we might shy back, because of a variety of different reasons, and that's okay, to just be compassionate with yourself on that path. Uh, What I am inviting you to do is just to be aware of it, consciously aware of where you're stepping out of yourself, stepping out of your own consciousness and awareness, stepping out of your own sovereignty and self love. Because the more that we step in and the more that we trust in God in the face of all adversity, in the face where things are looking very bleak, you will be surprised that new ideas will come to your consciousness, new perspectives, new creative pathways that will open up your life in ways that you had not thought imaginable. And this is meant to happen in this way because until we can completely let go and allow in our true, and we're always evolving, right? And we're always changing. And so what we may have wanted a few years ago, like what I wanted a few years ago, is not what I want right now. It's changed because I've changed. And that's okay, and the people who were aligning to the vision that I had a few years ago may not be aligning to my vision now, and that's completely fine. And that's what's meant to happen. Because if everyone was aligned, fantastic. That is cool. But if you're not, somebody or some energy is going to shake it up, which is what this new moon solar eclipse is all about. Think about it. It's the moon aligning to the sun in a total solar eclipse, a super new moon. And a total solar eclipse is bringing us the masculine light energy and the darkness of the feminine energy in full balance. We're not the lunar eclipse was partial, so we're now in total solar eclipse. We are meant for new beginnings. There are also a lot of astrological signs that you can find out about that. I can't give you all the details, though. And then we're going into 12/12, and then the solstice, so there's lots happening always in December, the great conjunction, all sorts of things are happening, and we are meant to now step into ourselves. I had a tarot reader who read for me 5 months ago, and I listened to that reading a couple of days ago, or even yesterday, and I was like, whoa, all of those things were right on, and I couldn't see it 5 months ago, but I can see it now. And I have not had I don't do those things anymore. I trust my own intuition, and I trust what my divine downloads are saying. That what I realized was I wasn't ready to hear that message. I wasn't ready to step into my purpose. I wasn't ready to be my own sovereign being, even though that was my intention. I wasn't ready, but I'm ready now. And ready or not, here I come, right? Ready or not, here I come. And in full force, that Lyran, lioness, forceful, fierce energy, the Kali energy. The sounds you hear are just my hands moving. And, it's like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm in full connection into the infinite oneness. And I'm here to do the work. And the work could be the inner work, the work could be the outer work, the work could be the inner and outer work within. And, what I am stressing is not to blame. No one's to blame for any situation that you may or may not be stepping into or out of. We are all here healing, and we're doing the best that we can with the tools that we have. And this is an important message. And if you're holding on to any resentment or any kind of guilt or any anger, or you're desiring deep forgiveness, or you're being really hard on yourself, and I have done some of those things all on my own, been hard on myself. Why did I continue certain patterns that I was aware of, and to let that go, because you are a courageous person. You have you have um you have surmounted insurmountable challenges in grace and love. And even if you're moving through something right now, and even if you don't feel that way, you have. And I don't know you, right? I don't know the ins and outs of your life because you're here listening to me. Though I know if you're listening to me, some of my energy is also yours because that's why we're drawn to each other. So that is for sure. And so I'm here to just share that if you're on the fence about doing something, the um the answer is always listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and let go of the resistance. Some of you may just need a lot of rest. That's some of the collective messages I'm hearing. Some people are just needing a lot of rest. Some people are going through deep, deep relationship issues. And some people are really asked to look at themselves, look at their lives, decide where they want to live. Do they want to continue to live in a 3D paradigm that is not serving them, or do they want to really embrace, a higher dimensions of consciousness? And it's a choice, as I said in earlier, Pat, it's always a choice. But now the choice is really between us and God. It's not really between us and a particular person or even a particular energy. It's how do we raise our vibrational frequency to be in the highest with God at this time, to really, and this is where I want to call in Mercedes and thank her because she reminded me that we're creating a new slate, a clean slate. Everything that happened in the past has now been removed, or you're in the process of removing it, because to come in, and I always felt this way, when we're coming into the new earth, we are asked, it's almost like we're being, we're born again, right? Like they talk about those born again Christians or the phoenix, with the rebirth. We have been cleansed. We have gone through the initiation process of cleansing our souls, cleansing our minds, feng shui our existence, so that we can step into pure love and embody it in whatever capacity that we are able to at this time, and also to embody our psychic and clairvoyant gifts, because it's so important to really embrace the whole of who we are. This male and female, this feminine and masculine energetic balance is all about that. We can have the material wealth, we can have the material security, and we can have the, you know, ethereal and earthly love that we're desiring as we step into ourselves, as we step into our relationship with our higher self and God. And how do we do that? You might be asking, like, how do we step into all of this? How, it might sound really amazing, like, whoa, that sounds cool. How do I do that? And that's part of the work, right? That's part of really trusting your own wisdom and letting go of, judgment, letting go of, I told a friend yesterday, it's like sometimes we, letting go of lack, looking at other things outside of us and being like, oh yeah, I want that. And I don't have that now. And that, that makes me feel kind of sad. You can sit with that emotion, sit with that pain, like sit with it and realize you have no idea when you're looking at other people or looking at things and thinking, "Oh, I want that." Yeah, you can have it, but not in the way where you're possessing it, not in the way that you're attaching to it, and not in the way that we've been taught through the 3D paradigm. It's going to be in a different way. That song, I love you in a different way. Love yourself in a different way. Love yourself with all that you have, and I know you've heard it before, but when you love yourself with everything that you are desiring in a relationship, that's how you magnetize another. And you do that with also this connection into the divine, connection with nature, connection to all that is. Recently was my birthday, and there were so many things that were people and blessings I was receiving, and all I could see was what I wasn't getting. And when I shifted my perspective to look at all that is, and why am I looking at it with that lens? Well, I was asked to let go of the lens, remove the lens from my perspective, and see the abundance and the love that is existing. Look at it for what it is. Be honest and really embrace and love what I currently have and allow in to receive what I'm desiring by letting go of the rest. And to me, that was a good, a different and good perspective of like, how can I, because, this whole year was like, how do I let go of scarcity thinking? How do I let go of lack? How do I let go of emotional scars? How do I let go of disappointment? How do I let go of heartbreak? And letting go of all those things, one is saying it, stating it, believing that it's not going to happen again. And two is really allowing myself to believe that I can have a different life. It's comfortable to say that I experienced that. It's comfortable to sit and cry and say nobody loves me. It's comfortable to say I'm still a victim in some level, and letting go of that mentality really for good. Where I have this is a turning point. Closing the door on that and throwing away that key and allowing in new keys and new doors to open, because that's what's necessary for the new earth. If you are desiring miracle consciousness, if you are desiring bliss consciousness, if you're desiring to live in the new earth with a full vulnerable embodiment, it's about letting everything go, breaking it all down. I physically felt something in my heart and I was like, wait, what's going on? I was like worried, but as soon as I let go and I released, and it wasn't just a release of crying, but it was a release of patterns, seeing the honestly looking at patterns that just aren't serving me. And I've been doing all of this work on limiting beliefs and letting go of them. So, like, this was the last straw. And I was like, yes, this has been the recurring theme in my life, and I'm done. I'm done with it. And and letting go of all that toxicity that was related to that. And even though I've been doing that for a long time, I felt that there was still some remaining, and there may still be some. But it was just this full, um, you know, full surrender to the to my sacred boundaries of like, this isn't happening anymore because I am not letting it happen. I am not giving into something that isn't working anymore. I am saying no to what's not working and saying yes to me. And this was a big change for me personally. So I'm sharing that in a vulnerable way because somebody out there needs to hear that. And the more that you say yes to you, yes to your boundaries, to yes to your groundedness, yes to your earthly being and your spiritual self, this is the melding that we're creating right now. This is a reason for stepping into balance energetically, emotionally, mentally, holistically, spiritually. Um, in our earthly self. This is what it's about. And so I feel like the way that we do that is one, just walking out, letting things go, letting things fall where they may, not necessarily having to have long conversations. It's just like doing what you need to do, like Clarissa Pinkola Estes says, sometimes we just need to go with nothing, no questions, nothing. We take the suitcase and we walk, and we may return or we may not. When you're with children, that's a different story, and there's reasons to, there's ways to continue to do that with them. But it's also time to for yourself. Sometimes it just means closing the door, and sometimes that means, yeah, just closing the door, being alone for a while, and saying, "I'm not available. I need this time to really reassess." It's a reassessment of who we are, what we're here to do, and it's the beginning of it. You may not have all the answers now, and we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to know. None of us. It's in our hearts. It's already done, though we are asked to be in full trust and surrender and to really coalesce, meld with our own divinity and our own full power. And the only way to do that is to connect into the divine, is to trust and surrender into the divine, is to have divine union with the divine. And that begins the holy marriage process, and that will come to fruition in your life if that's something you're desiring. And whatever it is that you're desiring, if you don't have it now, I'm encouraging you to really look at what is happening and take the necessary steps, whether that means going to therapy, coming to my coaching sessions. I'm doing a special on quantum healing up until December 8th. And if that's, I have 30% off of my quantum healing sessions, and the link is in the details. Plus, I have the new moon solar eclipse session today at 7 p.m. Israel time, which is in approximately 6 hours. And if you hear this after that point, that's totally fine. That's why I have the quantum healing. And I am going to be realigning my coaching sessions as well. So just stay tuned. I'll be talking to you about that probably next week. So there's a lot coming in, a lot of downloads I'm getting, a lot of heart opening, and a really deep connection into healing humanity and to healing our hearts, and to really allowing ourselves to be with our emotions and honestly look at ourselves. Because, you know, if any of you are struggling with the pandemic, issues of vaccination, remember this is about true liberation, about the freedom to choose what you want to do with your bodies, what you want to, the kinds of partners you want to live with, the kind of places you want to be, the kind of workplaces that you're desiring, the kind of work schedule and time management that you're wanting. It's everything. It's everything. You don't have to put up with anything that isn't serving you. I'll say that again. You don't have to put up with anything that isn't serving you. And if you have some fear or lack about that, remember that's in your own mind. God is providing for you. Your higher self is providing for you. Spirit, Great Spirit, Mother Earth is providing for you. Whichever names work, use them. Because until you realize that, until you totally face that and let it happen for you, you're going to still be struggling and be in resistance. And the only way to get out of resistance is to, one, do the things that make you feel good and really align to your personal values. And I'll get more into that in a future podcast. Though I felt it was really important to align this new moon solar eclipse with divine union with God, because I feel, and many of the people that I used to follow when I was on the divine partnership path many years ago are no longer on that path, and I was still holding on. And I realized, you know what? This is what I needed to do. And I was listening to them, and I was like, okay, I was watching them. I wasn't always doing what they said because it didn't align to me yet, but now it did. And we might say, some people say it's Christ, some people say it's consciousness, some people, it doesn't matter. You know, I do what I say and I do what I resonate with. And for me, it's about consciousness. It's about connecting to a higher source of power that is within me. And the more I connect to that higher source of power that's without and within, that's what creates the new cycle of divine union. And so if Jesus Christ resonates with you, take it. If it's Christ consciousness that resonates with you, take it. If it's just love consciousness that resonates, take it. Take whatever resonates with you. Maybe it's a amalgam. For me, it's an alchemy of many religions, and so that's why I don't say one. I don't even adhere to religion. I adhere to words that resonate with me. It could be Allah, it could be Jesus Christ, it could be Abraham, it could be Isaac, it could be Jacob, it could be Kali, it could be just my own mind, talking to me through God. God is talking to me through my consciousness. So I don't adhere to any one, but I know that it is the opening of consciousness, and it's all about love and connection of everything. And we just watched the theory of everything that was talking about Stephen Hawking and his life, which is also very fascinating. So I feel like all of this is coming together because we are desiring a new way of being, and we are the ones to step into it first. So as you step into your own self as you inquire about your own self, as you honestly look at your own self and your own ways of thinking that are not working and stepping into the new, that's what's going to change the story for you. And it's a real shift in story right now. It's a clean slate. It's your choice. Do you desire a clean slate to start anew in the new earth or not? Choose wisely. And I'm encouraging you to make those choices now because it's a very energetic, fertile time, auspicious time for new beginnings. It's official. So I am just honoring you. I'm witnessing you. If you're desiring to step into the 30% quantum healing with me, definitely jump on board. I'll put the link in there. 30% off on all of my sessions. It's one-time sessions only, and then we have the new moon solar eclipse happening today at 7 p.m. Israel time. And upcoming in my next podcast, I'll be sharing some changes in my coaching prices to really allow you to connect to it if that's something you're desiring. And always feel free to send me a message at gila@gilanahami.com. And I'm so happy to be on this earth with you. I'm so happy to be on this sovereign path with you. And I'm honoring, witnessing, seeing, and really hearing you in the etheric and energetic realms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Aho, and so it is. Please take a 3 deep breaths with me to close this session. Namaste, Om Shanti Shalom.